Good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing? Good evening to my GMT friends. Welcome to Thursday Live. We have a 543 to paint today. I'm trying to get all the 543s done before the weekend for a change so I can actually relax for the weekend. So in order to do that, I need to do one with you guys today, which will be fun. So you guys get a sneak preview of one of the 5 from Monday. So that's kind of what we're thinking, I think, for today. Very little show and tell. We're just going to kind of bust right into it. And yeah, that's what I got. So hope you're all doing well. Hope your week's going well. And yeah, let's get to it. Make sure I'm actually live, because that's always helpful. There we go. That and one of these and 2 of them. Come on. Here we go. I know I am because I saw comments, but I can't get to them from there. Ian, what's up? Gary, what's happening? Hello, Paul. Michael, what's going on? Yes, I changed the members icon from the razor blade, which is extremely hard to see, to the little SL logo. So I figured that would be more in your face to show off the awesomeness of the members for the channel. What is that? New timeout lengths. I don't want that. Here we go. Yay. All right. Everything's working. We're good. So super quick show and tell. If you guys were here on Monday, I started the portrait of my son's dog for his birthday, which was Monday. And I finished that painting the next day. So I thought I'd share that with you guys. Colin wants to be surprised with it when I get home. So Colin, if you're watching this feed later on, he's working right now. But if you're watching later on, Colin, you're going to want to turn away right about now. So this is how Lilo came out, and it's already cleared. It's got the satin clear on it, and yeah, I had a blast with it. It was super fun. I don't get to do too many pet portraits. It's not kind of, I mean, you know, I'll paint anything, but I don't get very many requests for pets along the way. So it is fun when I get to do that. Cody, what's up, buddy? Dan, what's happening? So that's how it came out. It's 5x7 on an ampersand panel. Whenever I do the pet portraits, I always do them like this. I don't know why. Meaning, you know, the animal is a little bit smaller. There's a bigger border around the outside edge. I just love the way that it feels. I love that it's like, and you have to see this live. It feels really three-dimensional live, and I think that's because the background is so simple. So that's how that came out. Anyway, so I got to get this framed and be ready to head back to Massachusetts. So let's get right into it. So today, oh man, I forgot to, I forget who suggested this. It's in my notebook on the other bench, but I'll catch up with whoever on Monday for the person that suggested it. But the suggestion was Kitt with the little LED light in the front from Knight Rider. So that's what we're going to do. So I've got this photograph. I think this is a Barrett Jackson photo too. Anyway, so this is the Trans Am from Knight Rider, and we're just going to knock it out. So I'm pretty sure I can get this done in the whole feed. So we're just going to rock and get it done. This one is going to be a 543C. I figured I can't do this without. I mean, if you knew the show, you'd know the front end of this car and the wheels, the hub, or I don't know if they're wheels or just hubcaps in this car. But in any event, those things would give away that this is the car from Knight Rider. However, everyone knows that, you know, little red light that flies back and forth. So I got to get that in. So, thanks, Ian. Sorry, I didn't mean to put my face in the way. We're going to zoom you guys in so you guys can be a little bit closer to the action here. I'll raise you up a little bit and get you out of the way from me and turn you more this way so you guys get a kind of a sky view, but not really. And then I have the palette cam ready to go too, so I will turn that on when we get to it. And lighten this up a little bit and focus it a little bit so you guys will be in good shape. I'm going to drop that a bit too. Now maybe I'll just raise it up. I don't know. I'll figure it out. So yeah, so we're going to knock this out. We'll get this done. Lighten it up a little bit because you guys are too dark. That's about what I'm seeing right there. So that's good. All right. And yeah, I will drop it down a little bit like that. That way you guys get a decent view. And then when I get the palette ready to go, Turn the palette cam on too, because there'll be some paintbrush stuff with this for sure. There always is. So how are you guys doing? Everyone having a good week? Adrian. Yes, yeah. Oh, that's awesome, Adrian. Yeah, I don't get to do too many of them. I'm not totally upset about that, because doing portraits and human portraits and pet portraits, that's a different level of I don't know, of difficulty, because when you do a car, obviously you got to get it right. But there's a little bit more leeway there than when you do a portrait. It's so easy to be off a little bit on a portrait and then have it not look like the person. I mean, if you're off a little bit on the car, yeah, someone who's really into it's going to know. Or if it's their car and it's real specific, they're going to know. But it's nothing like a portrait. I mean, most people can pick up, and that goes true with pet portraits too. I mean, people know their animals really, really well. So, and you'll know that if you ever had a child who had a goldfish die and you thought it was a good idea to go to the pet store and get one that looked kind of like your goldfish that died. Yeah, that never works. All right. I don't say that from experience. We were lucky. We had one of those little betta fish. My daughter got one for a birthday favor, which was stupid. You never do that. Anyway, so when I was totally prepared, if this thing was going to die, I was going to go with another one, but this thing lived forever. It was pretty funny. JC, what's up? Hello. I love that the members have shiny green names and logos. So thank you again in advance to anyone who has thrown super chats or hit the thanks button on any of the posts, and of course those who have opted for membership. It means a lot. It's definitely the component that's going to keep all this going at this pace. Right now it's. Oh, I have coffee today. By the way, I have coffee and Gatorade today for the cheer. Today, I mean, still there was more investment than return on all the live stuff for me, which is okay. That was what was planned. However, by you guys supporting this, you guys are ensuring that it continues at this breakneck pace, so to speak. I put out way more content than I probably should, but I enjoy doing it, and that's what it is. So first thing I'm going to do, we're just going to get right into it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I can get this whole thing done with you guys, which will be fun. So I've got the Yupo paper. Again, this is Yupo heavy, so it's synthetic paper, but it's the thicker one. And it only comes heavy and regular, I think. The light one is it's real thin. So I mean, I'm sure it'd be good for a lot of different things, but I like the thicker one. Awesome, Ian. Happy birthday. No, it's not birthday. I just automatically assumed it was birthday. That's awesome, Ian. Okay, so I spray it with Autoborne Sealer Gray. If I'm careful, like I was with this round, and I double strained the Autoborne Sealer, I don't really get any of those nibs, but if it gets kind of chunky, I'll just use the razor blade first to get the nibs off. This sprayed really, really nice. There's not a lot of stuff in this, so I can just go right with the sandpaper. This is 1000 grit sandpaper, which is just right for kind of finishing off the surface. I didn't want to do any really show and tell, although I just got off the live finished watching the live stream from Copper Sound, and I posted it right after that because I wanted to kind of put my triple graph up again, the painting that I did for them, because it is their 3-year anniversary of that pedal, and they just reintroduced a brand new or kind of an anniversary issue of that pedal. It's been such a good time. I mean, I've been friends with them before they were Copper Sound, so it's just been a blast kind of hanging out and doing stuff for them. I just got a great vibe with those people all around. Yeah, Adrian, that's it. It's like, it's so specific, Well, like I said, I don't mind doing it. I will definitely do it. But there's a different pressure with doing that than it is, doing a car. Dean Brown, what's up? I did not say hello. So there you go. So that's it. So I was talking when I did this, but I have this really old, worn out Scotch-Brite pad, which normally this Scotch-Brite pad would be about 800 grit. However, now that it's been used for, I've been using this for over 2 years. This pad right here. So now this is more like 1500 or 2000. And this is like that. This is like that pair of jeans that you own that, are falling apart, but you love them to pieces. That's exactly what this Scotch-Brite pad is like. What I should be doing is breaking in a new one right now in case this one, finally does give out. But it's just everything about it is great. It's, if you've ever got a brand new Scotch-Brite pad, it's like stiff as a board, and it's Scotch-Brite pad. But this one's El Perfecto right now. All right, so that's all that needs for that. All right. So we're going to tape it. We're going to put the border on it, which all 543s have, which is the FBS tape. I'm just about to run out. Well, not just about, but this is the last roll of FBS KUTG Gold that I have. So I'm going to reorder it, but 3M sent me a bunch of tape. And I believe one of the tape in there is a lot like this FBS. So I may give that a try when this roll runs out. See if I can get it to work. I'm sure I can. There's so many different types of tapes. So again, this is a 1/2-inch tape. These sheets are cut out to an inch bigger so that I have that 1/2-inch border around them. And then what I do is I just take the tape and I just, instead of putting it right lined up with the edge, I move it in about a 16th of an inch maybe. And that gives me a little bit of leeway when I go to put the mat on these. All right, and I leave that last one folded up because it makes it easier to take the tape off at the end. You just have to pull one side of it and then it all comes up. So in a row. So that's it. That's that. This is this. So this, I've been busy. I finished Lilo. I finished the painting of Tony. I put Tony back in, the little tiny portrait of Tony, speaking of portraits. So the new version of him is all done. I've got the Rupees polisher off. They have it now. So that's all done. Which means that I have one more big project that I got to do, that it's for a family member that I've been kind of not putting off, but it's a big project and I just haven't had the time to really get it started. But I will share that with you along the way. It's actually a guitar body, and it's my uncle, my dad's brother, and he wanted something special put on it after my dad passed away. So I got to get that started, and that could be the winter project here, which will be fun. So I'll get that started with you guys. Talk about portraits. That's a bunch of portraits on that, which will be a lot of fun. But I'll share that when we get there. There we go. Okay. So that's it. That's all set to go. Nice and smooth. I'll bring the cutting mat up over this. So when we're cutting, actually I'll attempt to do that now. So that way you guys can see what's going on. So again, I found this, photo online. Interesting. I used to watch Knight Rider all the time when I was a kid, when it was on. I knew it was a Trans Am, and I knew it was a new Trans Am because I was in love with them. I was, as most people know, I'm a total nerd. So in the 80s, when everything started looking like spaceships, I could not have been happier, even though I was, in my teens, and there was no way I could have afforded a new Trans Am. I thought I knew this car until I pulled up a picture of it. I didn't realize the whole front end of this is different. I knew the light was not, obviously not stock, but the whole front end of this car is not stock at all. And I didn't know that until I looked at it today, which is weird. That was a how old were you when type of thing. And I'm like, wait a minute, what's this? This can't be right. And it is. Every picture of Kitt I found has all these, it's like 4 or 8 like fog lights in this front end. It's crazy. And I'm like, that can't be right. I don't remember that. Alas, so it was. There we go. James McLean, what's up? There we go. All right. So what I'm going to do, this is like the reason why I have a feeling I can get this done in one shot today is because it's pretty straight ahead. There's not a whole lot of crazy detail. And there is one 543 from this week that I took on and I should not have, because there's a lot to it, and it took me a while to get it done. So this one was not the same. So this one is going to be pretty cut and dry, which I love. I also didn't realize that it has these side pipes on it too. I don't remember that from Knight Rider. I mean, I could be wrong. Like there's probably like, you know, smoke screen or jets or something that comes out of those, but I'll have to go back and watch Knight Rider again. Nah, never mind. I'm going to leave the spoiler off instead of cutting it out. It's easier to add that after. And it's if I cut it out and leave it, it's just not going to be clean anyway. It's going to leave, you know, a big halo around it, and I don't want that. So again, the background of these paintings are pretty simple. They usually like gray fades, so I'm going to include that in the window here. So I pull that out. If you guys have any questions along the way, like I said, I'm gonna burn through this. I'll kind of explain what I'm doing while I'm doing it. But if you have any questions, let me know. What I could do, you know what I'll do? Since I've done cutting that out, I'm gonna move the, since I don't have to mess with this. You guys aren't even gonna really see this. I'm going to move the tablet over so I can read. Thanks, James. So I can read the comments easier. There we go. Yeah, if there wasn't so many copyright things, I would have had the Knight Rider theme when you guys logged on. But YouTube is excellent at protecting copyrights. So I'm sure it would not have allowed that, which is okay. It's fine. All right. Drop that back down because you don't need that. And that's still in a good spot. All right, so I've got this cut out. And it's falling out, but that's okay. So I'm going to concentrate on getting the background lined up here. And all I need is like a couple magnets just to hold in place, because this is what I want right here. So we are going to paint the background first. Again, if this is off a little bit, it doesn't matter, because it's, I arranged this in Photoshop, so I composed it in Photoshop before I printed it out. So this is kind of how I would like it, but if it's a little bit different, it's not going to, it's not going to crush this thing by any stretch. Dwayne Marshall, what's up? I know what you guys are talking about. I just caught on with your edible stuff. All right, so this goes here. So a bunch of magnets on this. Make sure this is pretty well locked down. So when I did the announcement for today, I originally had a picture of David Hasselhoff, a pretty funny picture of David Hasselhoff. But then I thought, if I post that, people are going to think that's what I'm painting. And so I ended up changing it to Kitt's light. All right, so now that that's on there, I can pull off the background. I'm going to save this in case I need it, but there's that, and that's in the right spot. Yeah, this is going to be pretty straight ahead. All right, so for the fade, I've talked about this before. So I always put a fade on these paintings. It just gives it a little bit of life, helps to pull it off the background, even though it's real simple. So what I do is I look at the whole image, and I'll show you this one because it doesn't have magnets on it. So I look at the whole image, and the way I kind of decide how it goes is opposite of the way the light is hitting the image. So in this case, the light is coming from where we're standing, a little to our right, and that's what this big light is right here on the windshield. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of use the light as if it's coming from the back of the car back here. So that leaves the front is dark and then the back is light. So what I do is I just reverse that for the background. So for this car, the light is going to be down here and the dark is going to be up here. And by doing that, it helps pop things off. If I reverse that, if I do it in the same direction, like have the dark down here and the light up here, all these lights get washed out. So I don't want that. So I just swap it, and you'll see it from this photo, which was on a white background. When it's on the gray and it's two-toned, faded like this, it's going to be much different than this photocopy, which is nice. Also, I'll give you guys another spoiler alert for Monday. So I got a lot of questions about that colored ground video that I have on the Tech Tuesday. I want to maybe drop this down a little bit. I do. The colored ground Tech Tuesday I did a couple of weeks ago. I got a lot of questions about that. And so what I'm thinking about doing is doing another, basically a 543 on Monday night, but I'm going to use the colored ground, like a real heavy colored ground. Essentially, this is a colored ground because it's not white, it's gray. But it's a different, like for this, I'm only using black and white. But when you have to deal with a colored ground, like red or yellow or whatever, it takes on a different kind of thought process. So I thought it would be good to show that on the Monday Night Live feed. So that's what Monday night's going to be. So this sometimes happens too, like I'll have it all set up from where I had it on Photoshop, and then I'll look at it for real and I'll be like, meh, it needs to be moved a little bit. So that's what just happened there, which is totally fine because you just put the magnets back on and ready to rock and roll. Adrian. Oh, that's awesome, Adrian. Yeah, it's funny. I've never seen a Kitt at a car show, which you'd think for all the car shows that I've been to, I would have at least seen one replica, but that's like seeing like a General Lee. You always see a General Lee at a car show at some point. But not this one. I've never seen this one. All right. So that's good. All right, so same thing. Now, and with these, they're all black and white. They just use opaque black and opaque white from Createx. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the white down first so we don't get any kind of weird blue shifting. And I will let's grab the Mojo for this. I've been talking about placing an order from Coast. I need to place an order with Coast. And when I do that, I'm going to finally get my HPC back up and running. I have an HPC Plus. Did I take it down off the wall? I think it's down off the wall. I don't see it. It's probably on the bench. But I have an HPC Plus that I rarely use because the nozzle broke on it and I never ordered a new nozzle. And I'm like, just get it done. Enzo, what's up, buddy? What was I thinking? Do we need pallet cam yet? I could do that. There we go. We won't need that for a while, but this way I won't forget to put it up. All right. I'm almost out of this cup of coffee, but I do have a Gatorade as a backup. All right. So I'm going to grab white, opaque white, and do that part of the fade. The fades also, again, what really helps with movement and helps kind of make this simple thing kind of pop a little bit better is I'll usually go opposite from the direction of the painting. So this has a very, northeast to southwest kind of vibe to it because of the way the car is. So I'm going to go opposite that this way. And that helps set things up too. I'm going to block the overspray from hitting the tablet, which is right next door. I got a little scuff right there, which I probably, if I had caught it before I started painting, I could have just erased it off. It's probably happened by a magnet or something. However, I already got paint on this now, so I'm going to have to bury it because if not, if I start erasing this now, I've already got some white on here, so I'm just going to make a bigger mess than is already there. Let's do this. That way my hand's not in the way. So when I looked for my first car, my very first car, I really, really wanted a late 60s Firebird. That was my goal. I couldn't find one. I ended up with a late 60s Mustang, which is not bad. I mean, the car was a piece of crap. I talk about it all the time. It needed a metric shit ton of work that I couldn't do as a 16-year-old. However, I was always in love with the Firebirds, and then when the Trans Am was this, it was like I said, I was like just over the top with it. Okay, so there's the white, super easy, and now we're just going to reverse the process with black. Yeah, Dwayne, the HPC is, I wish I had it here so I could show you guys. Where'd it go? I see, I never take it off the wall, which is part of the problem. Yeah, I don't know where it is. Oh, yeah, it might be in the box. But yeah, I want to get that back up and running because that would be that. And then I got to get another, I keep saying it, but I got to order another Eclipse CS. I think if I have that, then I'll have everything I need. All right, so I've got black in here now. It's super reduced. It's 1 part paint to 10 parts reducer. And this gives me just a really, really light fade, like a really light, controllable spray for this type of fade. So if I was painting this black, like if I wanted to get this like the background black, I wouldn't be using this reduction by a long shot. I'd be using something a lot stronger, like 1-to-1 through this brush would work real well. But for this, because I want to get that like imperceptible fade, I want those little droplets of paint to be pretty much invisible. I'd use the 1-to-10 for this. I think that's good. Now the shadow. Well, let's get the, first let me look at the image here, see what kind of shadow we got under this. I could wing it, but I don't know if I want to. All right, we'll do a little bit of both. We'll wing it, but I'll show you how I do this. So if it had a really super strong light and the shadow was like really hard edged underneath, then I would just cut out a template and go for it, just like I did with, you know, the background. You can automatically see like how the, you know, the fade works. Anything up here now that's going to be white is going to just, you know, pop off. Same thing with down here. So it's going to do that evenly across the car, so the whole car is going to come off the surface. Scott McKay, what's up, buddy? There we go. So see how this fade, this shadow is really soft though? I mean, it's hard underneath the car, you know, along the side, but it's not really hard over here. So this is going to be a lot of the same way that I did the shadows on the puppy. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this copy as a living the dream. I love it. So I'm just going to use this copy as a drawing guide, and I'll show you what I mean. Is there white on that? Yeah, I should have left that on there. Anyway. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut out the shadow, and obviously I got to make it, you know, make up the shadow down here where I can't see it, where it goes off the page. Like that. And then I'm going to curve this one around. And then as far as the car goes, I don't have to worry about that because I'm going to have that masked off. So I can just cut that across like that. That's good. Now for the back side, it's the same deal. Just going to kind of run along this line. It doesn't have to, I mean, I could go to the trouble of grabbing the straight edge and making sure that's straight, but it's not, with the shadow, it's going to be subtle enough that it doesn't really have to be like super straight. So that's my shadow right now. Okay. So I'm going to put this back. This is why I was saying I shouldn't have taken this off because I'm going to need it. However, it's not terrible to get it back on either. So just going to make sure this is really well lined up. We don't want any weird halos. Brad Mummery, what's up, buddy? And then for this, I'm going to use a little bit flatter magnet, like one of these disc magnets, because I'm going to have to put the other copy on top of it. So we'll drop a couple of these on here first, and then we'll get this on here. Actually, I'll just slide that up there because I only really need the front. Now using these two, I can just line this one up with the top one, like so. Actually, Yeah, that's good. I'm going to remove some of these magnets underneath just so I can get this lined up right. Because they're blocking the paper from going down. Oh, yeah, these magnets stick so well. All right. Actually, that's pretty damn good. Nice. All right, so now that I've got pretty much on there, I can just drop a few magnets on here and lock this top one down like that. All right, so this is, like I said, this is going to be just a drawing guide. This isn't going to be like spray in and it's done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the same 1 to 10 and I'm going to start on the car to get the darkest part down like this. Keeping an eye on well, this isn't a clean one. This is a clean one. So I'm keeping an eye on the reference photo so I can get the sort of kind of the way that it is. Chris Garcia, what's up, buddy? Yay, Brad. Thanks. What could go wrong? Oh, that's bad. Not really terrible, but I cut across there and you can see it. So, and then same thing over here. I'm going to concentrate just on the car and let the overspray kind of do the work for the rest of it. So once I've got next to the car as dark as it needs to be, like that, then what I'm going to do is really like far back. So here's the airbrush, I'm spraying, but I'm going to be back where you guys can't even see it. I'm back about 6 to 8 inches. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a really light mist of black over the whole thing. And what that allows me to get is this. I gotta keep that there for a second. But it just gives me like the slightest of shadows on that, like that. And that's all I need. One of the things, and there's the mistake I did right there. I should have had that cut out, but I didn't. So I'm gonna have to fix that now. But I can do that with this copy right here. So one of the things I have to figure out for the new members, and I'm happy you guys are here and doing it. One of the things you guys will get is early access to the videos. I just need to figure out how to best do that. A lot of the videos are scheduled right now, and when you upload a video, you can set it as unlisted, so that, which is what I do for the Patreon members. They actually see an unlisted video. What I got to do for early access is that's how you do early access as well. But I got to figure out how to do that. So the early access for the YouTube members is going to be the other open studio. You guys get to see that before it actually goes live. Bill, what's up, man? Bill, I'm glad you're here. That your latest kind of review of that airbrush, that was really good. I'm glad you did that. And I wanted to, what I'm doing now is I'm just darkening what I already did. So now it's already on there, but now I can just freehand and it'll stay soft. That's the idea behind it. But Bill, my comment, which I don't know if it came across the right way, but what I was saying was there was I found out a while ago from a buyer, and it changed my view on how China does what China does. I always had the impression that China just builds cheap stuff. That's what they do. So you go in the dollar store, everything's made in China, it's all cheap crap. What I didn't understand, and this buyer kind of educated me on this, and it didn't occur to me until he said it, the Chinese will build whatever you want. So if you, for instance, if you have, he used an Adirondack chair as an example. So if you want to go to them and say, I need an Adirondack chair and I need it to be under $50, they'll build that for you and they will deliver that for you. However, if you go to them and say, I want an Adirondack chair that's $1,000, they will also build that for you too, with all the quality. And they do it all the time. A lot of components are made in China that are actually really, really nice. But what happens is we as consumers have gotten to the point where all we want is now and cheapest. And that sucks because what we get is garbage. So my comment was, Bill, it would be cool to see what their manufacturing techniques could do if someone said, hey, listen, we don't want a cheap brush. We want the best brush you can build. I would love to see that. And maybe that's out there. Maybe I just don't know about it. Like there's a Chinese manufacturer that's making a super top of the line brush, but if there is, I don't know about it. So anyway, that was my that was my the root of my comment for your thing. Plus, I was watching Dread FX's studio tour yesterday, and that makes me want to like rip this whole place apart and redo it. I love his studio. It's so very cool. Does such a good job on it. And it's, I like it, you know, you only see a part of it in his videos. So I always got the impression that it was bigger than it was, but he's maximized the use of his space so well. It's crazy. Right, Scott? Isn't that true? I'm like, oh, what a good idea. I want to steal that too. So good. Yeah, that was a good video. I love all these, you know, I love all, and the art workshop is another one. I love checking out the videos from there. I missed Tim's live stream last night because I was sleeping by like 9 o'clock. but yeah, it's good that there's so many out. And Bill, you know, watching Bill on Tuesdays, and it's all good. Yeah, exactly. That's it, Brad. That's it. Yeah, but that whole Chinese manufacturing thing was like, it was like an eye opener for me because, like I said, I always just assume that, you know, they just build stuff, they copy everything and then they build it real cheap, which they do. You know, there's that element as well. However, you know, the actual official, you know, go to China and have something built to your specs type of thing is also a real thing. You know, it's not just being, you know, stolen or whatever. But all right, so there's the shadow. Pretty easy, right? So it gives me this kind of really soft edge in the front without kind of messing with it. So that's, again, that goes back to these things not just being a template. You know what I mean? They're more of a drawing guide. You don't have to hose them down. And that's the biggest thing with these cutouts and all the hand, you know, all the skull templates or whatever, the shape templates. You don't have to just hose them down. You can spray within the openings and get a lot of cool stuff going on. All right, so that's it. The background's done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on the car itself. So the first thing I do is the same thing as, I keep grabbing this. This has white all over it, which I might be able to use later, but we'll see. So first thing I do is I pick out anything that's really bright and white. What I'm not going to do is I'm not going to do this super heavy highlight on the windscreen, on the windshield. It just, I just want to do something different. But anyway, that would be included in this. The real super sharp highlights on this, those are all white too. Basically the outside rim of the wheel, some of the interior, that kind of stuff. Those are what I'm looking for. And that's what I'm going to cut out first. Because it's the same thing. You know, if I put all the white in first, then I won't get any blue shift on these. And blue shift isn't bad. You can work it out. You know, you can do what you need to do to get rid of it. But on these, again, they have to happen fast. So if I can avoid the step of having to fix them, I'm in good shape. I'm purpose building this studio, but plans to move in a couple of years. Not going to get too crazy. Yeah, that's awesome, Bill. I mean, you were in the same position. You got to the point where you were actually building the studio, which I have plans here. We just got to figure out how all that works into this place. And we're not quite sure yet because there are different plans on the table. So I've never had like the dream studio. I've usually had to just kind of look for the best spot and then just adapt it to what I'm doing. So it'll be nice to eventually have a space that's been designed. And that's why I was so, you know, so interested in watching Dread Effects and the story of how he built his studio and how it came about. And, you know, that's my goal. And that goes all the way back to when I was a kid walking into the studio of Robert Douglas Hunter, who was a oil painter in the Boston area, just a fantastic guy. And I met him when he was much later in years. Just an amazing guy. So I got to go to his studio, and he was kind enough to critique some of my paintings. And for me, at that point, it was like, why is he even doing this? So because he's like this, big time oil painter. And I was just this kid using acrylics and an airbrush. But he was just such a great guy. Anyway, so I walk into his studio and it's everything I ever wanted. It was like old hardwood floors with that smell of linseed oil. And he had a big bookshelf on the wall and paintings stacked up in the corner and his easel and north light and everything you would imagine. And ever since that day, I'm like, okay, that's what I got to get done. And like I said, that has not happened yet, which I'm not complaining. Like, I've always been like a basement dweller, I guess. Most of my studios have been in the basements of houses that I've had. So so I'm used to that, but it would be nice to have, before I, leave this spinning marble, it'd be nice to have, the studio, you know what I mean? So that's a lot to ask. A lot of artists never get that, and I totally understand that. And I may not even get there. So we'll see. Build modular components. Yeah, Gerald's studio is awesome. Same thing. I see Gerald's place, and oh my gosh, love it. So if you haven't figured it out, because I've been yapping, all I'm doing is cutting out any of the really light areas. Now with a 543. Again, it's all about speed for me. I got to get these done fast so that they kind of fit into the spirit of these things. So there's a lot of kind of, not corners that I would cut, but generalizations, I guess, is a better word for it. So what I'll do is, instead of, if like this whole front end has a lot of complexity to it because of the way the light is kind of moving across these different surfaces. For this, I'm really trying hard to simplify that. And that way, again, they're not going to make it into the painting. Gary, thank you, sir. I'll put that towards the studio, Gary. It's very kind and generous of you, my friend. So again, with this, there's a lot of different fades and, changes in value and all that fun stuff. But I try to avoid all that and try to simplify it just for these paintings. So the idea is to tell the story, but in as few paragraphs as possible. These really become like elevator pitches for me. And in elevator pitches, when you have to tell someone what's going on while you're on the elevator before the door opens and you got to get out. So that's your elevator pitch. So these paintings for me are those elevator pitches. They got to be good, because if you don't pitch the correct way, then that person gets off the elevator and never thinks of you again. So these got to be good. But I have to figure out what's the most important thing to leave in and what I can take out. That's what makes them so much fun and challenging for me. I also found for me, once I cleaned the place and started making it nice, I got a lot slower because I was less prone to toss stuff around. Yeah, without a doubt. And then there's also the, if you have your place clean and organized, it's never having to look for stuff, which is huge. Because I know this place gets kind of chaotic, and when it's like that, I can never find anything, and it always ends up making it, making it crazy. Yeah, Bill, I'm with you. I would love to have, that perfectly organized studio space that's like got shelves and everything's in, labeled and all that stuff. That will never be me, even though my plan for a studio looks like that. I know as soon as I move in, I'll end up, causing the chaos that I cause everywhere. I love watching Adam Savage's YouTube channel, Tested, and seeing his cave, seeing his workspace makes me happy, because that's kind of the way that I am. So for him to be that kind of, having that workspace be an extension of the madness that's going on in his head, and knowing this place is the same way for me, that really makes me happy, because I know, you see all these super beautiful studios that look like they should be in Better Homes and Gardens and all this stuff. And I'm like, I know I could never keep it that way, but you don't have to. Yeah, Bill, you win the prize for the most amount of paint. Holy crap, dude. I'm careful not to get too much paint, because all right, so this is out now, so I can show you this. But where is it? Where is it? I know it's here because it's been here since I got it. There it is. Scott's real familiar with these. This is New World, Medea's New World's paint. This is their scale modeling or miniature modeling paint. Great stuff. It's awesome. So I got this to try out a long time ago, and I have all of it. You guys know how I use paint, so I can't have 400 bottles because they'll go bad before I get to use them. Yeah, Bill, it's it's like everything we use. So it's great stuff. All right, so again, I'm just cutting out anything that's brighter white. I haven't decided on this yet. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to leave it out for now. This whole thing, even if I wanted to do this, if I cut out this whole thing, then I wouldn't be able to do anything with the interior because this whole area would be too weak as far as a stencil goes. Excuse me, I got the burps. I just had a banana before I signed on, so I'm sure that's not helping. So anyway, if I cut out the whole windshield and then the highlight that's on this A-pillar, then this whole thing is going to not be able to stay in here. So I would have to make a decision either way while I'm cutting this round. So it works out well. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to put the same fade on this side of the windscreen, but I'm going to lighten it. It's not going to be as pronounced. Flexible stuff got the name of Createx, made for another company. Yeah, I don't know what that is, Bill. You'll have to let me know. No, not the no. I was thinking of the Scenics, but that's a different deal. All right, so I got to get this out of here. So this is the edge of the hubcap. I think that's everything. See this this thing right here. Oh, I did do that one, didn't I? Wow, I just didn't take it out. Okay. This one right here, basically the spine of the hood scoop. That's obviously white. I'm not going to cut that out because that goes on after anyway. I'm just looking for the big fields. The other thing I am going to cut out though, because I'm going to need this cut out, is the light. So the light is going to be red. This is going to be a 543C. So to get that red though, I'm going to have to paint it white first because the red, even though it's opaque, won't really stand up on the gray. That's amazing, Bill. That's not surprising. If Scott's still on, he might know. Chris says, Organizations of Plus spent 30 minutes last night trying to find Scott McKay Pocket Graphics. Unfortunately, I feel your pain. Scott's templates come in that cool little case, but I have all mine out in the rack here. So so if I move them off of here, if I bring them somewhere else, these are super easy to misplace. And then I'll find it, 2 weeks later, or, when I'm trying to find it and, get all frustrated and whatever. Actually, I'm not feeling the Gatorade. I may make another cup of coffee. Still got a long way to go today. I have one more to do after this, and I'm waiting on my sister for that one. So she's got a reference photo that I need, so I'm gonna grab that. All right, so make sure this is all lined up. Actually, no, do I want to do that? I'm gonna have to. All right, sorry about that. I said all that about the interior, and I didn't cut any of it out. Nice, Bill. Yeah, yeah, they're because they're business card size, so they're easy. So I'm going to cut out, let's see, let's do the highlights of the interior. That might be a good way to go. Again, I'm going to try to make this super straight ahead. All right, for the interior, like the side mirror here is much brighter than the interior. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to cut that all the way out. I'm just going to start the cut and leave it. And I'll show you why in a second when I get there. All right, and that side of that looks good. Everything else in the car, well, I could probably do that too. Since I'm gonna not have the super bright highlight on the windshield, I got to cut some of the interior out on the inside too. Not much. Like there's a, let's do this one too. Michael, what's up? Yeah, they're awesome. And then the other thing too, the Gerald Mendez, the mini texture effects, I just used them today on one of the paintings. So I use those a lot too. And those aren't much bigger. Those I keep in a separate spot though, because if I don't, they're going to get ruined. So the Gerald Mendez templates are made out of this laser cut impregnated paper material. And so if I put these on my rack with the stencils, the edges are going to get destroyed. So I keep these flat in the case next to me. So there are a few templates. Tommy Ham's fiber template is another one that I keep over here because I don't want to get it ruined. Dennis Mathewson's over here. You know, anything that has a lot of really like really small, you know, small things that can get damaged easy, I keep flat on the other side over here. This is Tommy Ham's, I don't know what you call it. I call it haystack. I don't know what it's called. All right. Oops. What did I do? I pushed the button. There we go. All right. So that's good. That'll do it. Let me get this lined up again. This obviously, now the first one I could kind of put anywhere. This one I obviously have to make sure it's lined up really well. I mean, I'd be able to make minor adjustments to it, but again, the idea is to get it one and done. I don't want to have to like mess around with it. Which is kind of funny because you know, when I'm doing a major painting, like Reflections or, you know, the Corvette painting or whatever, those don't have to be, I mean, they do have to be lined up really well, but if they're not absolutely perfect, I'm going to be nitpicking the thing to death anyway. So I can make adjustments. So it's funny in a way that they're not as, and this is bugging me that this isn't, I can see that under there. Make sure this is in the right spot. So in the bigger paintings, I actually, you know, they don't always have to be perfectly lined up. That just may be, oh no, that was right. Okay. That's better. Much better. All right, here we go. Oh, and also, see, I'm streaming, just stream of consciousness with you guys. Sorry about that. I asked and put up a poll about moving the time for this one, and you guys were great. I'm still on the fence on what I'm doing, so I'm just going to leave it the same for now. The same thing with Facebook. I got almost even responses for either side of moving it and keeping it where it is. So I'm just going to leave it. The Thursday feed runs into a problem. If I run it any later, I might get into a trouble with, you know, the other things I have to do at night on Thursdays. So yeah, so we're going to leave it for now. This is your spring stencil holder. Did I say I was going to make one of those for you, Bill? Bill, I gotta remake mine. When I redo mine, I'll probably end up, that's what I promised you, I'll make you one then. Yeah, the spring I bought for the new one that I bought was actually a double spring. Oh no, you didn't. Good. Whew. Can I show you guys? Yeah, I think I can. I'm afraid to move this because, again, I'll explain why in a second. So I did a Tech Tuesday on how I build this. Yeah, this is stuck to the magnets on the bottom. Yep, and there they go. Of course. I don't have my little one, but this is the jumbo one, and I'll move it over here so you can see it. So these are all my templates, and it's in a door spring that's attached to this piece of oak with those jumbo magnets on the bottom. And that's what holds all my templates. The problem is, when I bought the spring, there's actually a second smaller spring on the inside, which I didn't realize. And that does not allow the templates to sit in there really well. So I could literally take my finger and just like snap them all out. And they fall out all the time. And that's not good. So I do have to rebuild this because I have a lot of real small templates that really need to be in this thing. Like the Valley mini flame templates. These things are super tiny. So what I really need is something to, just put them in and have them hold so they don't go anywhere. Right now, when I put this in the template holder, as it just did, if I bump it even a little bit, these just fall right out. So I got to rework that, but I'll get there. Oh, you bought the spring for it. Good. Oh, that's nice. I don't know, Bill. With my track record on this one, you probably don't want me building one for you. What I do need to do is I need to build a fancy one. And then this, once I get it right, and again, I don't want to move all the cameras, but I want to get this on. Oh, actually, it was right over there, and I just moved everything. So you could have seen it on camera too. In any event, I want to make a smaller one that will actually attach to the Visionaire, but it has to hold the templates really well for that, because it's, the Visionaire is at like a 70-degree angle. So those really have to hold on, but that'd be really sweet to have a small one that just screws onto the side of the Visionaire. All right, I still have white in the brush, which is good, because we need that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spray this. Now, same deal here. These are all white, and I've cut them all out, but I don't have to just hose them down like this. This white on the front, like the hood here, it's brightest along the edge, but then it kind of fades away as it gets closer to the other side. So I can do that here. I'm going to hold this down a little each feel. Stiff brush instead of a spring. Yeah, Brad, that might work. That might really work. If you had a long, thin, stiff, bristled brush, but had real short, short bristles on it, that actually is a really good idea. I'll have to try that out. What you need is one of those almost like those, like the window squeegee, but real super thin brushes like that. That would be really cool. Now I'm going to have to go look. All right, so that's that one. The next one is the hood scoop one, which has more magnets on it, so it'll be a little bit easier to get this one. Some of them, like that hood scoop one, are just white. They're just all white, so I don't have to worry about that. The same thing with the front end. Remember I said all this front end stuff is really complex. I'm just going to spray it white. It's going to look okay. It's going to get the point across, but it's also going to save me a little bit of time. The light has to be bright white, because it's going to be bright red. Yeah, like a push broom. I think for some of the small templates, you'd need something that has a much shorter bristle, though, I think, than a push broom. The bigger templates, that would be amazing. The standard size templates, yeah, that's a good idea. But they sell a million different kinds of brushes, I'm sure. You could have multiple. You could have one for the small templates and one for just the regular size templates. That spring idea came from the old Draftsman. So I don't know if you're old enough to have, have had 45 singles. They used to sell a wire rack that you would put your singles in, and the wire rack was really close together. Those are also what the Draftsman used to use to keep their templates nice and clean and safe. I do have one of those from the Draftsman type thing, but it's too big for these. So, all right, front of the car. Marker light. And then the running board here, which this I'm going to hold down because I don't want to get paint on that part over there. And that, I didn't mention it, but the white on that is more towards the bottom. Okay, so the back end of the car is pretty straight ahead. This paint is separating out on me. It's been in the brush for a while. And then this is really separating out. So what happens is it starts not spraying really well. So I'm going to clear that out real quick, and I'm just going to replace it. Yeah, cut the bristles to size. That's going to be something to mess around with, Brad. I like that idea. Because then you don't have to really even line them up. You just put them in wherever they go. Okay, where was I? Did that. Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the side mirror here, I just want to kind of hold that down as well. Oops, almost lost it. Because the same thing, it's brightest at the top of this thing. Lovely. And then remember, I cut out the driver's side seat here, but I didn't take it out. So I left just a tiny bit of it holding it in so I can just literally rip it right out. And now I can do the rest of the seat. Here we go. I think that's it. That's going to do it. I'm going to leave that white in the brush because I'll need it for the next step. Take all these off and see what we got. I did hose this down a little bit aggressively. So I'm expecting some problems here in the back. But we'll see. Yay, I did get some right there. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. That's as far as I can zoom in so you can see it. Okay. I did get a little bit of spider webbing on that, which is not a big deal at all. There's black next to this anyway, but if there wasn't, I could just take the razor blade and just remove that spider webbing. Because again, this is on Autoborn Sealer Gray, and there's about 4 coats of Autoborn Sealer. So I can scratch quite a bit before I get down below that. So I can make any kind of adjustments that I would need to make. However, that came out pretty good, so I'm not worried about that. All right, so the next step, I did all the really bright areas. Now I got to deal with the areas that aren't so bright. And really there's only 2. There's the back side of this, and then the front right here. That too. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the gray do all that. All 3 of those, and the roof of the car. The roof might need a little bit of love. Yeah, so we got that this darker area here. I don't think there's enough separation between this gray and this gray here, so I'm going to put a little bit of white on the roof. So this one is actually easy. I can use the same white template for that. Hasselhoff's Ride. That's a good question, Gary. The titles I don't usually come up with until I actually have them finished. Sometimes they pop up, but yeah, that's a good one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out the entire roof here. And I'm going to do the same thing I did with the fade in the front. Actually, that came out sucky. So that's too high over there. So I can't use this now. Because if I do this, it's going to look like ass. So I got to make sure I get this right. Much better. Steve, wouldn't that black cover the spider web? Yes, Dan, you are 100% correct. That is exactly what's going to happen with that. But I figured I'd just kind of show you the cleanup. I can also use... if that really went nuts, I could use an eraser on that too. Again, because the Autoborn Sealer is tough. And I've got, like I said, I've got 4 coats of it on there. So I can aggressively erase that before that we get down below that. If I get down below that with an eraser, I have bigger problems. Is that good? I'm going to save this because I'll use this for the windshield too. But that's going to work. I'm just checking to see if there's anything else that I might need. No, there isn't. Okay, good. Put that there, put this here. Now line this up, and now I can give the roof a little bit of an extra hit. Here, that'll help it pop out a little bit. Good. Now all I'm worried about right now is making sure that none of this white gets on the background. So that's why I got all the magnets on there. And again, I'm going to start heavy, not heavy. Everything is light layers, but the white is going to be the most intense along the top edge of this. I don't want that either. Stop that. I'll put one there so it doesn't squeal. So again, what I'm doing here is I'm just splitting this. I'm spraying along the top edge, but right between the cut. So the cut, if this car is the cut, right? I'm spraying exactly on the line, going back and forth of the cut. And that way it leaves the front of it with not a whole bunch of paint on it. Yeah, Dan, you nailed it. No, I didn't have to do that. I just figured I'd do it to show, how easy it is. All right, so now we should have a little bit of, yeah, that's much better. See, it's not really like that in the photo, but that helps out the roof and the back end of the car pop off a little bit, which is good. I'm happy with that. Okay, how many copies do I? Oh, I'm doing good. All right, good. All right, so I decided to let the gray do this. I could do this with a little bit of white, just not as intense as that. But I think the gray is going to work out great. Since this car is black, there's a lot of leeway there, and you'll see that when I get to it. Same thing with the front end here. You can't see because I cut some of it off. I'm going to let the gray do that as well. Down here, it just seemed like it's awful bright, so it needed a little bit of extra hit. So I think that's good. All right, so that's great. We move on. Oh, what about the hubcaps? Oh, I missed that entirely. Okay, 1 second. I missed the wheel entirely, the front wheel. That's okay. Super easy. Line this back up. Drop a magnet on it. Yeah, because what made me notice that was I was looking at the hubcap, whatever it is. That might need some white, but might not either. Brad, have a great one. There we go. That's better. So that should be the wheels. Lovely. I didn't really hit the back wheel, but that's probably okay too. All right, so next up is the first round of black. So then I go from the lightest whites to the blackest blacks, and I get all those done. So that includes things like the wheel wells, and if I can get some of the body done on this, I will. It just depends on what I can cut out without it falling apart. So because there's a lot of, obviously it's a black car, so there's a lot of black on this. So it's going to take a couple copies to get all this in, but it's gonna work. So I think what I'll do is, just to make it easy, since there's a million different things to kind of look at with this, I'll start on the front of it and just work until I can't cut any more out. So first this chin spoiler here. Yeah, it blew me away how different the nose of this car was, and I never noticed. Go that. So this area right in here below the directional, it's going to get cut out, but I can't do both because there's not enough room between them. But I can cut out the marker light. That'll make things easier when I do the next part. So I'll get that cut out, and then moving on. So I want to get both of these little details in, but again, that's too thin of an area to leave. Like I can't cut out the whole nose. So what I'll do is I'll take this in bits and pieces. So I'll cut out this section of the nose right here, but I'll do these two on the next one. And I'll get the area under the light. But I'll leave the hood. I'll do the hood on a different cutout, just again because the light is just barely showing and I don't want that to disappear. All right, so since I'm going to do the hood, this will allow me to get the headlight door. So if I cut out just the reflection on the headlight door, that's all done. This is all going to be one piece. This is all going to be one piece. Don't have to worry about those. This front fender looks really good. I can cut this whole thing out. like that. That's a good one. I'm ignoring the body line here where the nose is attached, because I'm going to scratch that out. Now, by doing the fender, that means I can't get the inside of the wheel well on this one, but that's okay. Again, because see how like you don't have a lot of room here, so I don't want to run the risk of having anything fall out. So we'll get the fender on this one. I could do the lugs though, or the spaces for the lugs. You can't really see the lugs on this one. I should have the jumbo lens on so you can really get in, but this micro cutting, there isn't too much of it, so that's why I grabbed the other lens. And I just finished, I bought the wrong paper when I went to Staples last time. I didn't realize they had a heavy duty paper that was only 20 pounds. It's nice paper, but I've gotten so used to using the 28 pound, the heaviest one they have, that this stuff feels like tissue paper to me. Which is funny because it's not. The little hood, not hood scoop, but the side vent here, I'll grab that. What else can I do? I could do the front of the tire, but that's kind of close to that. So, yeah, I'll do it. Whatever. What could go wrong? So the treads on the tires are going to be a whole different thing. Like if you look at the Corvette painting that I did everything on those tires. The little highlights on all the ridges and everything. This will not be that. So another place where we can indicate what's supposed to happen or what you're supposed to see, but not actually put it in. This looks like a reflection of some sort on the side, so we're just going to include it. Well, we'll leave the pipe on the side. Oh, Chris, I'm glad. The which one though? You had rapid fire 543s go out. I have to ask before I make my next comment. We're gonna have some fun with see the hub, how it's got this dark area on this side, but then it's like light on this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut it out, but the same as the interior, I'm not gonna cut the whole thing out. I'm just gonna cut it around to like, I don't know, I'll leave like a little tab on this side. So I'll be able to fold this out when I get to it. There we go. And I'll do the same thing for the, I'm not going to cut out the hubs on the back tire that you can just barely see it. Gary, I never saw it. I gotta see what's up with that. It was Hasselhoff, right? If I remember right. That scares me. Okay, I can't do much with the hood because all that's one piece. So that leaves the I can do this though. I can do the fade on this wheel, the flare here. Same thing here. The flare, I'm not going to cut it all out. I'm just going to leave it and then just fold it back. James, have a good one, man. Thanks for dropping by. I think I can get this here. And then I can get the back of the interior. Yeah, I'm almost afraid to rewatch some of the old Knight Rider episodes because, again, I was a kid, so it was the coolest thing ever. It's like I also remember watching Airwolf. And if you've never heard of Airwolf, there's a good reason for that. So Airwolf was basically Knight Rider with a helicopter. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. Of course, you know, me being a total nerd. Like I saw an episode or parts of an episode later and I'm like, oh no, this is beyond terrible. Oh, Nubbo Lantern. Excellent. Good. All right. So the other one should be there today or tomorrow, Chris. You'll have to let me know what you think. Seriously, like I watched Airwolf again and I'm like, what was I thinking? It's like Buck Rogers. I used to love Buck Rogers. I never missed an episode of Buck Rogers when I was a kid. And I saw something, you know, a part of one again, and I'm like, man, seriously, it's a wonder that you ever got married and had kids, because damn. All right. So I got under the windshield. I got some of the interior. I don't need much of the interior. I may do the fade on this one too. So it's the same thing with the fade on this back seat. I go all the way up to, you know, about a 1/16 of an inch before, but then I stop, because what I'm going to end up doing is after I spray this part here, I'm just going to fold this up and grab the fade there. It sucks looking back. Yeah, I think I'm just going to let the rest of them live in my dreams. like, oh, that was so good, but it really wasn't. But that's okay. I think that's everything. Oh, that's right. He had this cool, I'm like, what's this weird dashboard thing? But he had this cool, like, NASA thing going on the dashboard. So that's there too. Airwolf was the best. In my memories, it was. I just, all right. All right, I'm almost out of coffee. This isn't going to work out for me. All right, so lining this up is pretty easy because I've got a bunch of it on here now. So I'm going to kind of look at the front air dam here and the back tire. If I get all that stuff in, everything else will automatically be in the right spot. So we're just going to line those up first. And we're going to double check it. I love it. It's good. It was great in 1979. Yeah, for sure. That's like Battlestar Galactica too. Like, I know that's super cult favorite. And I love Battlestar Galactica too. But again, I watch it now and I'm like, oh. Back to your Dungeons and Dragons, you. All right, bunch of magnets on this because some of it can get, you know, underspray, but a lot of it can't, like where this white is. I don't want the underspray. So I really got to kind of keep check on, you know, getting magnets where they more need to be than anything. Oh yeah, I was really into a new generation. That has a lot of special memories for me. Again, that's kind of, you know, cringy now in a way. However, you know, for me, I have a lot of fond memories of it because my youngest son and my daughter, that was the time when, you know, they were born, you know, early 90s. So we were, you know, I spent a lot of time, you know, being a dad and being up all night. And so I have a lot of great memories of like watching stuff like that at that time. So I really like the you know, the next generation, and then it spun off into that, you know, the one that your wife is watching now. I need black. Okay, so I have, what do I have in here? This is the good. All right, I needed to make sure this was the right one. Again, if I was doing like a black background and I tried to do this step with this, you know, that's really heavy black, it would have been a mess. So you know, I gotta make sure I have the right one in here. Yeah, I mean, Bill, that's kind of true. All right, I'll put a copy up here so I can see it, because I need to make sure if there are fades, I got them. But for the most part, these are all pretty much straight black. Now, if they were all 100% straight black, I could put in a darker, like a more or less reduced black. But I do have some fades like in the side here, so I'll use this. I just have to be more patient with it. It won't build up as much. Yeah, Bill, there's a whole, oh my gosh, I could go on for hours about that. Because Disney can do it right when they try, or when they let the right people in. Like Rogue One is one of my favorite Star Wars genre movies. I loved everything about it. But the actual movies, the prequels, or the sequels actually, I can't stand. It's like, I don't know, just terrible. All right, again, this is pretty thin, so I got to be careful with it. The fade here is from the top down. Excuse me. I got to make sure I don't get any paint on that. So I'm going to just kind of build the fade from the top and let it just kind of naturally happen on the bottom side of it. Again, this 1 to 10, this will go black. I mean, I can paint this, get this as black as I need it to be. It's just going to take a lot, 100 layers. So, Bill, that's the other thing too. For me, again, my kids were, I got my kids into Star Wars, and we went to see the prequels in the movie theater with them. So I have a kind of a special place in my heart for those. All right, the tire is gray, so I'm going to just kind of carefully put that in here. And there's a little bit of a more of a shadow at the top of it, so I'm going to hit that a little bit heavier. And then now the nose of this is black, but it's needed to dry, so I'm just going to go and hit that another pass on that. It's a nice thing about kind of working all over the painting. Like I can put the second coat on that and then go do something else, and then by the time I get back to this, it'll be dry and ready to go. So the little scoop on the side. And again, we're talking about, the quality of brushes and how they work. That's the beauty of, this brush here. It's like I just did that little side vent, but I didn't get any, even though there's no room between that and the space above, I was able to just paint that side vent without blocking off the area above it because it sprays in such a controlled area. So this back tire, the same thing with this rear flare. I can just hit the front of it, and that will give me that fade. The interior is not black; it's just kind of a dark gray. So I can just run over that a few times. This area under the windshield wipers is black, so I got to kind of hit that. And now that that's in, I should do the light, the door for the headlight too. That's black as well. Concentrate on both of these. If I really wanted to save time on these, what I could do is leave the 1 to 10 in this brush, the white in the 0.3, and then put like a heavier black, like 1 to 5 or 1 to 1 in the other micron, the micron C. And then I could just bounce back between all three brushes. That would definitely speed it up. If you want the rest of your childhood ruined, I know, right? Yeah, I mean, I watched, like, I like Ahsoka. That's on right now. That series, I'm happy with that. Um, it makes me want to go back and watch all the animated, um, the animated Ahsoka Anakin stuff, so I can get caught up on the story because the series is good. The Boba Fett series, I wasn't a big fan of. It was kind of whatever. It was kind of blah. Like it made no sense to me. And even Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan was hyper pitched, and I was like, it's all right. It's like going to visit old friends, that kind of thing. But after a while, you're like, oh, okay, cool. I'll see you in another 20 years. All right, I think I got everything. So you see the nose of the car. I pretty much got all the way to black. It just takes going over it and over it. You got to be patient with it. So the majority of this stuff was like a gray. So it made sense for me to use this. I didn't do the wheel yet. So let me do that. First I'll do the little openings for the lugs. And then I'll do the wheel. So I think I got both the front and the back. So what I do here is, those are almost all the way cut out, right? Oh, did I miss? That's scary. So I'm looking at, and I see white here, which usually is an indication that this isn't lined up. However, the back one is, there's a little bit of white there, but it's not really that bad. All right, maybe I didn't screw up as bad as I thought. Maybe I did. So what I'm going to do now is, the good news is the black isn't on where that white is showing up. So now I can just, with the black, I can put in that really dark area on the hub. Same thing with the one in the back. Lovely. So we'll see what we got. We'll see if I'm lined up or not now. I can think of one 543 that it was so horribly lined up that I ended up just restarting it. It's only happened once in all 500 of them or whatever. And that's not, you know, a testament of skill. That's more a testament of not being skillful. Instead of blowing it up, thinking it's in one place and then having it be in a totally separate place. But that is good. Those lugs are in the wrong spot, but that'll be fine. Or are they? I don't know. I don't know if those are wrong or not. So we'll figure it out. All right. I've officially used 5 of the templates, so I got to cut out I have another sheet here. It's so, you know, doing these all the time, I pretty much have it down so that I can get any painting done in 12 copies or 2 sheets. Very rarely, you know, there's an instance where it's really like there's a lot going on and I have to print out another sheet, but that's only usually when there's a color added, and that uses up a lot more templates, but for the most part, it works out good. All right, so next up is the rest of this stuff. So let's start with the dark areas. I'll save this part of the hood for the next one, which will be the rest of the interior. But this will get the hood, the doors, and the rear quarter, maybe the roof. Yeah, and the front end too. All right, we'll be in good shape. But this is coming together fast. If I showed this to you now, like if you saw this now, you'd be like, what is going on with that? So it does come together. All right. So I can't cut out the whole hood because this spike in the middle will fall out. So what am I going to do? I'm going to, let's solve this problem first. So what am I going to do with this? I know what I'm going to do with this. There is a division at the end of the scoop here. I'm going to leave that part and paint that separately. That's what I'm going to do. So remember, I cut out the front headlight door here. So now I can leave that one. And I'm only going to cut out half of the hood. So that's going to go up to here. Is that going to work? Yeah, it's going to work. Okay. And then I'm going to leave that little trim piece on this very front of the hood. So what that will do is, cut this out. Easy killer. Did I cut that? I don't think I cut that. Like that. Okay. So now what that does is that leaves the highlight for the hood scoop. So see, obviously if I cut out this last little piece up here, the whole thing would have fallen out, but now I have something holding it in. And that little extra piece has body lines around it, so that's going to be an easy one to drop in. All right, what else do I got to do here? I got to do these two. Do I want to do that? Will that fall out? I don't know. I'm going to give it a shot, though. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'm just going to run across here like this. So now, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So now what I'll have is a little gap in the body line right there in the front. So that'll hold that together there too. So there you go. Okay, so I got the front quarter done. So that just leaves the rear quarter here. The door. So we'll get that. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, but that's the thing though, when you're, when you're young, that wasn't cheesy at all. I was like, oh, I want my helicopter. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. I might have to, not a big deal. I tried to save something and then I ignored that I tried to save something and now it stayed in. Okay, good. The bottom of the side mirror here, I was going to try to save it and then I cut as if I wasn't going to save it, but it ended up, I didn't go all the way through, so it stayed where it should. So that's good. I'm going to even grab this part of the roof. What do you think of that? I mean the rear behind the window. That's a good cut right there. I'm going to put the indication for the scoop in. I mean the spoiler in the back, because that's going to be paintbrush, but I can tell myself where it's supposed to go. Same thing with the split in the T-roofs. I'm going to put that in too. What else can I get? I got to do the tires sooner or later. Oh, the wheel well. I can do the wheel. I can do the front wheel well. Can't do the back one. There we go. Front wheel well. Can't do the back one because it's too close to the rear quarter. What else? Oh, I could do that. Could I? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Save a little bit of time. Excuse me. That was probably very loud. I apologize for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this side of the hood. So this is a gray. It's not really black like the other areas that I've got cut out, but it's far enough away from everything that I can grab it now. Again, it just saves time. This area down here. This I don't even need to cut out. See how it's got that kind of dark area right here? I don't need to cut anything out. I can use one of the other copies to do that. Can I get that? I think I can. Whatever this reflection is right here that I couldn't get before, I can get it now. Yeah, so you guys will all know this one's coming Monday. Before everyone. That's good. I think that's everything I can get in this one without having it totally fall apart. I've got enough of the interior. I'm okay with that. Windshield wipers, I'll do that with a paintbrush. Yeah, I think we're good. I think we're good. So same thing. Use this front corner here to line up, and then I can see all the way through the back now, so it's easy. So I can get this lined up really well. So again, if I get this corner and this corner lined up, everything else is going to be okay. And if it's not, then I made a mistake somewhere else. So, but this feels pretty good. So again, background needs to stay clean. So lots of magnets on that. The front, inside here, the only part I really got to worry about is where this light highlight is, and obviously this guy right here. Oh, that's right on there. That's on the money. That's good. So I want to make sure I got plenty of magnets on this. This I have to deal with separately, and I'll show you that in a second. So I'll get all the magnets on first, and then we'll deal with the other fun stuff. Same thing here. I don't want paint getting down onto this part here. So we put some big fat jumbo magnets down there. This area here, though, is there's a lot of shading going on there anyway, so I don't have to worry about it. Same thing, this section here doesn't need any magnets on it at all, and in here too, because it's black under there, except that's kind of a nice highlight right there. I may want to save that, so we'll put a magnet down there for fun. This I'm just going to have to deal with when I spray it, because I don't have magnets small enough for that will not get attracted to the other magnets around it. If you put a small magnet here, these magnets are so strong, they'll just pull it right off. All right. I should really put a heavier black in this. I'm going to do that. All right, so I'm not going to use a 1 to 10 here, and I'll tell you why. Clean this out real quick. Okay, so with the 1 to 10, you saw that I can build it up really dark, but I'd have to build it up over a bunch of different layers. I have this nice bright white highlight that I got to try to protect. So the idea here is I don't want to be messing with this as more than I have to. So if I had to put like 40 layers of paint to get this to be black, there's a good chance I'm going to get paint underneath here. So I want to get this done in fewer layers. To get it done in fewer layers, I have to have a more aggressively or a less aggressively reduced paint. So I'm going to use 1 to 1 here. This will develop black to black a lot faster. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the front part of it first, this part down here, while holding down the template. Then I'll do the other side. That way I can hold the template down without getting it in the way. I'll move out some of these magnets to start because I don't need them in there yet. So I use the bamboo skewer along the whole edge of that template. The back edge, not the front edge. Like that. Once I get it on there, just kind of push it down, and because the bamboo skewer is straight, hopefully you can see that. Because the bamboo skewer is straight, it's holding down the whole template. So now I can come in here with the black. Oh, I want one on there too. And now I can just kind of roll over this side of it and not worry about that highlight getting paint on it. So you see how fast that built up to opacity. Again, this is reduced 100%. This is way over what they recommend. However, through a tiny nozzled airbrush like this one, which is 0.23, 1 to 1 is like spraying t-shirt paint. It just sprays completely different. If I put this 1 to 1 into a t-shirt brush, it's going to be like spraying water. So, yeah, that's exactly it, Chris. Okay, so the just reverse and the same technique. So I'm going to put that across the whole cutout there, and I'm just going to run in here and just fade it in. Now, one final note too, you notice I faded it to the front. It's like a really nice fade. It wasn't meant to be a fade. However, I need to blend this part back up into that. So that's why I did it this way. And now all I got to do is just hold the template down so it doesn't flop up. I wish I could airbrush left-handed, because what I really need to do is hold this down like this and then airbrush it like this. I guess I can airbrush left-handed. That's a new trick. All right, next part is the lower part underneath the door, the headlight door. Same kind of thing. I can use the meat skewer to hold down like where the directional light is, the marker, the directional. Should have put the magnet pack on here. That's all right though. I kind of I'm going to lose that highlight right there now. It's not going to be bad. I'll just hand paint it back in. Okay, so the only thing left is this side here on the hood. So this is dark at the front, and then it kind of fades up. Actually, it does it in two different spots. Did I screw that up? No, I didn't. Okay. What I really should do is switch back to the other brush now, because I'm trying to get a really soft fade with that dense black, and it's difficult to do that. So I think I saved it enough. So since I got this brush out, I'll do the door in the rear quarter, which has the same kind of interesting pseudo fade on it, I guess. I'm going to check this before I pull off the whole template, because I have to make sure that the door matches the front quarter panel. Okay, and then just the I don't even know what this would be. It's not really a B-pillar. It's the the back of the car. It's got a nice fade on it. Now don't forget, I still have the cutouts for the T-roof and the rear fin. So I got to do those. I got to do the wheel well. But with all that, I'm going to use the 1-to-1 mix, because for this technique of that, just cutting a line in the paper and then having it go through, this technique works better with thicker paint. If you use real thin paint, it tends to get between there and just spider webs everywhere. So thicker paint resists that. So I'll use the 1-to-1 for that. And the wheel well is obviously black, so just hit that. Should be in pretty good shape now. Just got to do this other section of the hood. Oh, right. I'm not going to remove this all the way. So I'm going to take off a bunch of the magnets, because if I have to adjust it, I don't need all the magnets on here anyway, because it's just this one section I got to make sure is okay. So we'll leave a bunch at the top, or two anyway. That should be good. And what I'm looking at is the similarity between the front and that's pretty much right on the money. I'm okay with that. Yeah, Chris, it's funny, those neodymiums, if you buy the super strong ones from a reputable place like Amazing Magnets, they'll always come with the warning. And you're like, warning, it's a magnet. Until, like Chris said, I can't even get these off the board. I'll show you. So these magnets, let's see. I know what I'll do. Where is it? Where is it? There it is. I got it. Hold on. So like these magnets here. So I can put one on this side. And I can put one on this side. Hold on. Let me do that again for you, because I moved them around too quick. So one on this side. And if I do this, I'll hold it this way. But watch this. That's how strong they are. So then this isn't even like the strongest one I have. So yeah, so if you have like two of these and they get a running start and you have any bit of U between them, that's going to hurt a lot. And I mean, obviously any magnets inside of you is a problem. If these buggers get inside of you, that's a trip to the emergency room and then into the operating room, because they got to get these out, because you can imagine what kind of havoc something like this would do passing through your innards. So yeah, extreme caution with them. And trust me, when I'm doing this and I'm like, I need an extra hand, the first thing I do with my airbrush is put it in my mouth, right? These things, I make a concerted effort. If I'm trying to, hold one of these, even though I get a little handle on them, I never even put these anywhere near my face. Because you don't want that. You don't want that. All right. We're rocking. This is good. All right. I just got to do this section in here, how I'm going to deal with the interior. Got to knock out the tires, do the paintbrush work on this, and then I got to do the red, and we're going to be pretty much done. Yeah, Bill, I don't even have my jumbo super one. There is one. Actually, all right, you guys take a quick break, go to the bathroom, get yourself a beverage. I'm going to go get my jumbo magnet, and I'm also going to make myself another cup of coffee. Be right back. Alrighty. Yeah, nothing gets used around here more than my Keurig. Holy crap. All right. Cappuccino. I know, right? All right, here you go. So this is my jumbo neodymium magnet. I have no idea how really strong this is. This was sent to me by Amazing Magnets, just as a kind of an extra. So the business part of this is here. And then there's this nylon washer. I have no idea what this is actually used for. So here's the thing about this one. Where I keep this is I have a wooden shelf on the other side of the studio, and it's got regular nails, put together with regular nails. So I put this on the wooden, it sticks to the wooden shelf because of the nail. If this comes in contact with any other metal, like I have had this on, like if I put this on the Visionaire station right here, I don't think I can get it off. I mean, you could do like MRIs with this. That's what this one's like. Oh, I almost dropped it. Oh, that would have sucked. So anyway, so that's where this one stays away from anything metal. I wish I had a reason to use this. I just don't, but it's still the coolest thing. One of the coolest things I have. It is, it's insanely strong. So I'm going to put this behind me on the plastic table. Like if you put that near your phone, I'm sure it would roast your phone, that kind of thing. Bill, you can't even slide that one. It's insane. But yeah, Bill's 100% right. Let me grab, I can't even get this off the board. So because they pull so hard, like you can't get your finger between these and pry them apart, but you can slide them apart like this. That works. The other cool thing about these two, like with the Visionaire, so the Visionaire frame is aluminum, but the actual business part of it is steel. So if I have one of these on the Visionaire and I need to get it off and I can't get underneath it, you just slide it up to the edge where the aluminum is and then it'll just come right off. So that's fun. Anyway, that's more than you bargained for. All right, let's get this finished up. So remember this, the front, the nose part here. I don't have to cut out a template for that. It's just basically kind of freehand. So I'll use the original template for that, the one I used to cut out the car for the background. And I could just freehand in that. I just got to not get too near the marker light. Removable, yes. I have a couple of felt on. Oh, yeah, yeah. And when you get those jumbo magnets from Amazing Magnets, I'm not sure if every company does it, but like these disc ones that I just showed you, I bought these because I needed something a little bit bigger for the ampersand board. These come with a nylon, basically the version of them. It's a little nylon washer between every single one, and that makes it easier to pull them apart. Yeah, that jumbo one is a blast. So again, just kind of roll that in. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to just give a little bit of a fade here on the side of the highlight just to soften that up a little bit since I've got it going. That's fine. That looks good. That looks good. I just got to do that part there. Do I even need to cut anything out for that? I don't think I do. I'm going to just use a template. Grab a template here. Let's grab one of these. No, not that one. Gosh, I need Art Tool to make the Essential 7 in pocket graphic size. I need that to be a thing. Oh, nice. All right, I'm just going to use the template to, oops, so I keep doing that. Template to block this off, and I'm just going to put the fade in manually because it doesn't go anywhere near the edges and it doesn't go near the highlight. So I can just put this in like this. I just want to be real careful that I don't get anywhere near that highlight that I took so much trouble to make sure it didn't get any paint on it. That's good. There is a little bit of shading up here. Drop that in. That's good. Oh, and that section I did miss. Okay. The end of the scoop I got to get. So for this little piece that I didn't get before, that's being held on, I'll just grab a template like this one that doesn't have anything near it. That's so funny. I just went back to grab the cutting mat and I wanted to make sure I didn't like bump the jumbo magnet onto something that I'm like terrified of it. It's so much fun. All right, so I'm going to cut out this little piece right here. This is really specific and it's really hard edged, and you know, I could try to wing it, but it's just as easy to cut it out. And then this is the last. I'll just look real quick to see if there's anything else that I need to get, but it looks good. I don't think I need anything else. To knock out the interior real quick, and that won't be good. Let's go to 1:1 black, because I want this just black. That's lovely. And hopefully you saw that. So that looks like it's in the wrong spot. No, it isn't. I just had the first one in the wrong spot. But there's the line for the T-roof that kind of happened, which makes it really easy. I'm feeling like I need something on that, though. Let's do that. So there's a little bit of a fade on this running board here. Not running board, the bottom of the door here. So I'm going to do that before I finish up with the interior. Oh, I got to do the tires too. Hey. Okay. What time is it? It's almost 3 o'clock. We've been doing this for 2 hours. So here's the point. Like I said, that these you need to be done within 2 hours. I probably have another half an hour on this. So instead of basically what's going to happen from here on out, and I'll do the front light with you guys so you can see how it's going to like kind of glow. But I basically just rinse and repeat for the tires and the interior, and then a lot of paintbrush work to kind of pull it together. But what I think, to keep this feed from going way too long, I'll do the light in front here, and then that would be, I think that's what we'll probably call it. So what I'm going to do for this, I did spray that white, but it got some underspray on it. So what I'm going to do I have that on? Yeah. What I'm going to do is move that down so you can see the whole thing, and I'm going to grab some white. So I'm going to put this back in because I got to get it to glow a little bit. Put on my brush here. Glove. I looked up on Dick Blick yesterday, and they have the artist's gloves, basically the black glove. It's missing this finger, and the thumb. So I think next time I place an order from Dick Blick, I'm going to order one. Like I said, I just use these cotton gloves because they're super inexpensive. And I use them for other stuff around the studio, like when I'm handling finished artwork and glass especially. But I think what I might do is I might just order a pair just to try out. All right. So I'm doing the white here, but I'm kind of not dabbing it in, but I'm not, actually, well, I will get you closer for this. But I'm not going straight across real smooth because I want this to look like it's like lit up and glowing. And if you remember the show, or if you've seen the show, I'm going to move you closer. It's made up of a bunch of lights that kind of move like across the front. What is going on with this? I don't want you like that. I want you like that. And like that. That's much better. All right, there we go. Nope, I can't be that close. What do you know about that? Oh, yes, I can. Oh, yes, I can. Perfect. Okay. So that's the so that's set up again. That's good. Next is going to be, let's do this. Let's yeah, they're red, but let me yeah, this is what we're going to do. I'm cleaning the black out of the brush. I'm going to grab a little bit of white. So we're going to add the glow to it now. And then we're going to hit it with red, and then we're going to put the bulbs in, and should be ready to go. So what I'm going to do is, the photo doesn't have this, but this is, again, one of these great airbrush type of cheats. So if you take the white after I did the paintbrush part and put some hot spots on that, it's gonna make it look like it's lit up a little bit. So like that. That's awesome. Next thing I'm gonna do is take the white out, and that's really, all right, I was gonna use a little bit of opaque red, just reduced, but I think I'll just use some Candy 2.0 on that, because the candy's nice because it's really super thin and it really lights up, where the opaque red can sometimes, if you're using it on a really small area trying to get this effect, sometimes it doesn't quite do the job. So we're going to mix up a little bit of Candy 2.0. Hopefully I have the red over here. Green, yellow, that color, blood red. Wonderful. So this is blood red, Candy 2.0. Can't really read it, but there it is. Now, the nice thing about Candy 2.0 and the way that I do things, I just put a couple drops in there. So you need to put a binder in this. You need something for the paint to allow it to stick. So because I pre-mix all my reducers with gloss, with UVLS gloss, all I got to do is use like a reducer essentially. I don't want to, I'm not covering like a large area. So so I don't have to worry as much about ratios. Like you wouldn't want a thin Candy 2.0, which is essentially what I'm doing by using reducer and 40-50. But I'm really doing this so I get the 40-50 in there. And again, you'll see, I'm not going to be doing much with this. It's like a little tiny area. It's just all, I'm going to start on the outside edge of this where I did all that glow. And I'm going to kind of let the overspray kind of get on the inside part of it. And then what I'm going to do, since he's made up of individual lights, I'm going to kind of run across this thing. And it goes from one direction to another. So I'm going to leave this side really dark and I'll leave that side really light, like that. Then to finish up the deal, I'm going to grab some opaque yellow and some white on the palette. That is Hansa white, yellow, sorry. Yeah, Hansa yellow. It's nice. It's a little bit more orange, I guess. Not much, but it's got a little bit more warmth than the bismuth yellow. So I'm going to grab some of this. Hopefully this will be enough. If not, I can just add a little bit of white to it. And I want to get the glowy lights first. The ones that are on, and then I'll just kind of trail them off like that. And there it is. Hello, David Hasselhoff. All right. So I think that's going to do it for here, because what I may end up doing is, again, I don't want to keep you guys for 3 hours, but this will give you a good feel for where this is going. And now when you see this on Monday, you'll know where it kind of came from. But see that glowing thing, and I use that on the lightsabers and all that stuff that I do that you need to look like it's glowing. That really works well, and it's super easy to do. The airbrush makes it really easy. So again, from here, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to put in some of the interior so it has something to go with, and I'll do that and the tires at the same time. I just put a fade on them to kind of make them look more like they're, I can't get this off the board. There we go. So, make them look like they've got the highlights on them, but that's all done with the airbrush. I won't have to put any highlights like on the top and the bottom of that wheel. I just airbrush it like I did the hubcap. That's how that's going to go. And then from there, it's just going to be tightening up. Like I'll have to scratch in the little highlight on the door, the headlight door, put in these amazingly large gaps that are in this hood, which shouldn't be, but are. And yeah, a little bit. So that's kind of how it's going to go. So there you go. There's your Knight Rider. The other thing I got to do is see this adjustment here too. Hopefully you can see this. The door, the headlight door is black, and this right here isn't. So I'll have to make some adjustments there too to just kind of make sure that all that stuff is the same. But that's easy to do too. That's pretty much everything. But you get the idea. So there you go. So when you get, oh no, you don't want the messy desk. You want this one. There we go. That's better. So yeah, so when you get a 543, and I said I spent too much time on it, this is what that looks like. So the other one that I have coming is I spent way too much time on it, which is fun. But honestly, I love doing them, and they're fun, and it makes for a good time on Monday nights. So yeah, no, that's how that's always going to be. I can say that I'll only spend 2 hours on them, but some of them go way over that. But that's fun. But that's what that also on my website. If you go to the shop now, and I mentioned it before. So there's a new category for 543s, and that's Steve's favorites. I think that's what I called it. So if I did one that I really, really love, or that I know I spent way too much time on, those get into that category. So if you want a good deal, or one that means personally a lot to me, that's what those are there. So yeah, that's what I got. I think that's all I got. All right. So thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, Gary, for the super chat. That's awesome. And Brad for the new membership. You guys are amazing. Yeah, if you're a Patreon member, the new video drops tomorrow on YouTube. If you're around on Monday, you can see how this one came out on Facebook Live, and catch the other 4 paintings too. So that's what we got going on. And again, I think we're going to do a colored ground painting for the feet on Monday. So the other, I'll tip my hand too on that as well. That one will be available when the feed hits. I'm not going to have that be one that someone can choose if they win. So that way it gives someone a chance to just get it, you know. If it survives the night, then, you know, and it's going to go on the site as a regular 543, and you win later on and it's still there, you'll be able to just grab it as a win. But we're going to keep it as, we're going to keep it immune from the win pile for Monday. So that way we can spread the wealth a little bit. That's what I got. All right, enjoy your weekend. Stay safe. Be good to one another. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I will catch you guys all on the next one. Have a good one.